to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms, in your own narrative. Because what we're facing right now is a mental war. It's a mental takeover. It has nothing to do with what we see. You know, the physical is kind of like reflects what has already happened mentally. And if we look at that, and with everything, how the world has been locked down, it shows you that there was a lot that happened spiritually to even get us to the point that we're at right now. And a lot of people are in denial of what is going on. And I know, and I wanted to do a show on, are you in denial? Four different phases of the denial process, and how a lot of people are really hopeful that the world will return to the way it was. Maybe now they're starting to see, whoa, it may actually not be going there, and many are just they called us conspiracy theorists for so long. They said this would never happen, or we would never reach a point of having to stock up for food and having to move out of the cities and having to be off grid. And it was literally a Noah's Ark situation. Shout out to everyone who gets offended when I use biblical references. But the first phase of denial is, it will never ever happen to me. First phase is, it will never happen. There's absolutely no way that it will ever happen. And then the second phase is, if it does happen, there's no way it can never happen to me, my country, my community, my this, my that, my family. There's no way. And the third phase is, if it does happen to me, it won't be as bad as you're saying. And the final one, which is the total defeatist one, is, if it does happen to me and it's that bad, there was nothing I could have done about it anyway. So, almost like c'est la vie. But I share this because I know a lot of people here are not in denial. It's just the few who happen upon my page. But a lot of us know what's up. But we're dealing heavily with people in denial. And so what can we do about it? Because this is what they're thinking. They'll either tell you, nah, that'll never happen. I've received so many emails of people who say, the video you did on money, I removed all my money from the bank. I tried to tell I've been trying to tell my folks, etc., and they just look at me like I'm mad. And sadly, because they know you're the one that organized, you'll be the one they run to when sugar hits the fan. So there's no way it can happen is the first one. If it does happen, there's no way it can happen to me or my family. If it does happen to me or my family, it won't be that bad. And if it is that bad, oh well, there's nothing I could have done about it anyway. These are the red flags, beloveds. And these are the people you need to be cautiously loving around. Because that will already show you where they are. And really, we are in a mental war. And the mentally weak will be God, with or without you. Because everyone is making their own choices right now. That's the judgment. I hope you've watched that show that I did about how we are in the judgment season right now. And the judgment is your choices. And so for us, we have to, be lovingly distant from such people and take certain precautionary measures. Like, the season of trying to convince anyone is over, beloveds. If someone is not asking you for that information, if someone is not genuinely wanting to search and coming to you like, hey, what's really going on with this or that, then don't volunteer that information, because you're really actually wasting your time and energy, which you need for other more important things. And with such people who are in denial about what is happening, stop sharing your plans. Keep it down to talking about the weather and, trivial things. Because they're a liability, beloveds. Not only could they expose you and what you have to others and say, did you know so and so's got like a pantry full of, prepping stuff, like food for 3 months, blah, blah, blah. Where do you think they'll go? So it is so critical to start to move in silence and keep your plans for yourself. Keep your plans to yourself and don't overshare. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. Are you living around people who are in total denial of what is unfolding right before our eyes, who don't see that the New World Order is literally taking away their freedoms daily, who don't even bother to look at the news of the massive resistance movements that are happening across the world? I suggest you look at channels even like Ruptly, or some of these like Russia Today, where they just show the footage. You don't even need to have the extra, to be told what the narrative is. You just see for yourself and make up your own mind. We haven't seen any major movements across the African continent. It may be because people are unaware. People aren't really feeling the hand of the New World Order yet. But there are a lot of people who are in a position to do something, who are in complete denial, especially across the African continent, who really think that life will go back to normal, beloveds. And even in the diaspora, they're everywhere. I mean, the Babylon system has captured the minds of people everywhere, which is how they're able to put their system everywhere. And a lot of people believe this. It will, first they used to tell us it would never happen. Now, literally, the chip is here. Next, they said if it did happen, it wouldn't happen to them. Next thing they'll be telling you, well, if it does happen to me, it won't be as bad as you're trying to tell me. I'll make it somehow. And the last thing they'll say is, oh, well, if it's this bad, it was meant to be, and there was nothing I could have done to stop it from the beginning. And for many of you who watch this channel, you're already aware. Many of you already feel like a black sheep. You've been warning your family and no one's been paying attention. And that's why I say it's very important to protect yourself now. Stop trying to convince anyone, because people have already taken their choices. They've taken their stance. The most important thing is to protect your vibe, protect your energy, protect your mind and your spirit. It's very exhausting to be debating people when that debating time, I told you, beloveds, it's way over. It's way over. We're in an absolutely new season and time. People have already taken their decisions. Some are literally walking to hell and others are literally walking to heaven right now. That's just the seasons and the times that we're living in, beloveds. So I would move in silence. Unless someone, give information on a need-to-know basis. If you're dealing with someone who's really low spiritually, which means they're weak, then literally, I would almost tell them what they want to hear. Because they may be the ones who expose you in the end if you tell them the truth. Especially like if you don't want to take the snake bite. They may now pass that information on to the authorities. Because as I said, can you trust your friends? Can you trust your family? And it's not so much that someone would want to betray you, but if someone is spiritually weak, they'll betray you without even knowing that that's what they're doing. Move in silence. Have less lower vibrational conversations where there's conflict and you're trying to tell someone this and they're trying to convince you of that. Try and do less of that, beloveds. Really. We are in such a unique season and time. You can't save anyone who doesn't want to be saved because it's all mental. Like if your mental is all right, your physical will make it. But we need all the energy we have to secure us and our family. Say less. Contribute less, beloveds. Listen more just so you can get an idea of where people's heads are at, because that's going to be so important. It's like we're in a war and each of us is individually in this, like almost like video game scenario. Tuko pamoja.